For today's video, I will be talking about how to input bank or credit card funds between entities in QuickBooks Online. My name is Kyle. I am a QuickBooks Pro Advisor and a property management bookkeeper that has total of 3 years of experience in bookkeeping. So I help property managers to manage their finances using an accounting software. So let's get started. So we are now in QuickBooks. So the first thing that we're going to do is to set up the entities. So to do that, click the gear icon, company settings, then under categories, you will see track classes and track locations, and you just have to turn it on and then click save. So as you can see here, we have a balance sheet report by entity here. So we have entity 1 and entity 2. So this will be our checking basis to check if we are doing things right. As you can see here, there are already sample transactions here that is waiting to be categorized. So let's try to transfer funds now using transfer feature. So you can use transfer feature here in plus new and then this transfer, but in this case we have already samples here in bank feed, so we're just going to use this. So the first scenario will be we are going to transfer a fund from entity 1 to entity 2 checking. So the first transaction is transfer to entity 2. So what we're going to do now is record transfer. So we're going to click that, record transfer, transferred to entity 2 checking, and then click add. So we're going to check the entity 2 checking, and then we're just going to match the transaction. So let's check the balance sheet report. We're going to refresh this. So as you can see here, QuickBooks doesn't recognize the transfer by entity. That's why it is labeled as not specified here in not specified column. So in contrary, we can't use transfer feature in QuickBooks because it has no option to choose transfer by entity. So let's just delete this transaction for now, and then we're going to make a better way of categorizing this one. Delete. So what we are going to do now is we're going to use journal entries. So click accountant tools, then click journal entries. So we're going to transfer funds now from entity 1 to entity 2. Entity 2 checking. So from credit entity 1 and debit entity 2. So don't forget the location or business, entity 1 and entity 2, and then click save. Now we're going to check the balance sheet report so we can assess what happens in our transaction here. As you can see, there is no not specified column here because we have already categorized the transactions by entity. In simple terms, as you can see, the total here is 15 in assets, and in liabilities and honest equity, total of 15,000. So if you will just look at this, we are done. But if you will look closely, okay, let's just disable these drop downs for now. And as you can see here, in total here in right side, it is stated here a 15 of total, but look closely by entity. So as you can see here in by entity, the assets and the liabilities are not equal, and that is not a good sign for every entity, for every entity's report. So what we're going to do now is we must create a liability or equity account to balance every entity transfers. Because looking back to basic accounting formula, asset equals to liability plus owner's equity. So if we are going to analyze this entry that we made, it is basically just for transferring funds without the basic concept. So I will add an equity account. You can also choose liability, doesn't matter. So here I will move this and I will add an equity account name intercompany transfers because it sounds fancy and making more sense at the same time, right? So here, as you can see, entity 1 checking is credit, so we must create a debit entry for that. So intercompany transfers debit 5,000, so that's entity 1. So we're going to have intercompany transfers as well, credit in entity 2 checking because it is debit. So we must create an equal entry for this. So that is an entity 2. So I think we're done. I'll click save and then check again the balance sheet report. So as you can see, the reports now, asset and owner's equity and liability are now equal, and now it is settled. So here 5,000 in asset, 5,000 in liability, in owner's equity, 10,000 entity 1. Everything is balanced. So you can go back to bank feed and then match the transactions based on your journal entries. So it should appear here, right? So match, transfer to entity 2, match, and then you are now settled. So the second thing that we're going to do now is to record credit card payoffs using other entities' funds. So to make things fast, we're just going to use the same method. We're going to go to journal entries. So the scenario here, so we have a credit card here that is under with entity 2, but we're just going to pay that, or we're going to pay the credit card balance using the entity 1 funds. So this will be entity 1 checking and intercompany transfer. So that will be credit 5,000, and then credit card, entity 2 credit card, and then intercompany transfers as well. Transfers. So that would be 5,000 debit to pay off, and then to recognize and to balance the transaction, intercompany transfer 5,000. So don't forget the entity 1. So it's just 2. Yeah. So you can just save that. See here, in liabilities, we are done paying the credit card of entity 2 using the fund of entity 1. So to check that if anything is correct, you just need to check if everything is balanced, and in this case everything is balanced, and now you are ready to transfer funds between entities, and you are ready as well to pay or record credit card payments or payoffs using other entities fund here in QuickBooks Online. Thank you for watching. please don't forget to subscribe and share and comment for your suggestions and corrections if there is any. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day and God bless.